We're live.
They said we'd never make it to number 3, but here we are with a special guest in tow. That's right, week 3 of Map5Podcast. And alongside the normal 4 of us, we're joined by Wheats, coach of ISU, to go over the news and then a little bit behind the scenes on Wheats himself. And, of course, the larger ISU project. Big Hungry Phil here to kick things off today. Welcome to the broadcast, everybody.
Yay! Yay, indeed, indeed. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm so excited. Weeds, thank you so much for being here. You're kind of our guinea pig. You're our first guest, so apologies in advance. But no, seriously, couldn't be happier for you to join us for this today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sounds like it's gonna be pretty fun.
Oh yeah. We always have a good time here. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into some news. What do we got for the news this week?
Okay, well, running down the list here, actually you kicking things off here with a Preta being signed.
Yeah, this is a good pickup. And, I mean, another T2 grad, like a late grad coming out of T2, probably the most definitive player coming out of China, at least the one that stood out the most to me, was my pick in episode 1 for most surprising player that did not get picked up into Overwatch League. So I'm feeling a little validated right now, not going to lie. But
this is... go back and re-record that to give you a new player that should have been picked
up. Yeah, maybe. But... Anyway you slice it, this is huge for the Hunters. I mean, we're talking to leave a Parita DPS line. Like, just let that sink in, friends.
It's sunk in. Ow.
Don't hurt yourself now. Don't hurt yourself.
It was their fault. They did it.
Hey,
So for those people that didn't follow Contenders China and maybe don't know Aprita, what's the rundown elevator pitch on why he's a good pickup?
I mean, it says it all right here at the top of the Hunter's announcement. 3 times Chinese Contenders champion, finals MVP. It was... Aprita just had that massive game-changing potential, playmaker potential every time they're on the battlefield. It's one of those, if Aprita is still alive, you have not won the fight. Like, just period.
He also won me a lot of money. I put a bet on him.
Wow. We do not encourage gambling on this podcast.
Sorry. No, sorry.
He did. Just nor support gambling adventures in America.
£200. Thanks, Aprita.
Oh, good lord.
Though, aside from Aprita getting signed, which I know Kenobi was just absolutely over the moon about, here's what I'm really over the moon about is that we're going to get a chance to see Pineapple go up against Aprita again.
That's cool.
Oh my god, I cannot wait, because they absolutely slugged it out DPS wise. Billy versus CC back in the day, and then yeah, I mean, this is going to be a good one. We're going to get that upgrade. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play with Architect, to be quite honest, because that DPS line, it's going to be absolutely sick.
I think it's just gonna be a Aprita leave all day, every day. But
Yep.
hey, like that's a real challenge. That's a real challenge to the Shanghai Dragons, to your defending champs. I mean, you come with that DPS line. I think you might be able to put up a fight against the Fleta Lip DPS line. So I'm really looking forward to see how that shakes up. They play each other early too, don't they? Play each other opening weekend or something? I don't know. We'll get to that announcement a little bit later. We're not actually going to cover the schedule, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do have a lot to cover today, so I want to kind of keep trucking on through
just
the news.
now. So we kind of found out some news this week about potential Overwatch League talent lineup. We don't really want to talk about Overwatch League too much, but it's relative to ZP, who has been casting contenders or had casting contenders for 2 years, probably at least, right? This man lives and breathes Overwatch, has been casting Overwatch since the very beginning. I think it's gut-saying for the lack of communication on his status for Overwatch League, because, I mean, he's so important to the game. He's integral. He's been here since the game's release, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, since day one.
Yeah, I used to cast back when I was on Second Wind. He was casting my game, so.
Oh, that is a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, the thing here is, right, that we don't know that he's been given a contract. Like, if you look at ZP on social media compared to pretty much every other caster, like, he doesn't like Twitter. I think you can tell he doesn't really spend a lot of time there. It's been like a month since he put out a tweet, so there's every chance something could have happened here, and he's just not ready to say anything about it. I know this is coming from Doa, who has said so far he hasn't heard that ZP's gotten a contract. We don't know, but at the minute it does look like he's been given the Brennan Sideshow treatment, which, would be a real shame. But I think we've all got to collectively, as well as cross our fingers for Overwatch 2, cross our fingers for some beneficial talent announcements, right?
Yeah. We haven't been really given much on that front, yeah. Look, I think he should be casting. Look, I mean, Doa worked with him last year. I know people weren't a fan of Doa and ZP, but they are iconic names in Overwatch and esports in general. And, I mean, if anyone knows that ZP deserves to have that contract, it probably is Doa. So, that he's speaking out about it, that's good. But we had some other news in the Overwatch League department that is relative to contenders as well, or I would at least say it is. Packing10 is now the competitions operations manager at the Overwatch League now. I think this is exciting, because Packing10 went through the path to pro technically twice in Overwatch. He was a coach, obviously. He coached Valiant, but previously before that, he coached Angry Titans in Europe, so went through the path to pro there. He was also the owner of Square One, so he tried to vet talent, I believe, in North America. So I think that's quite interesting that we have someone now involved in competitive operations at the Overwatch League who has went through path to pro, and I think it could only be beneficial.
Well, and so that's somebody that understands that route, understands how important that is. So I think it's definitely something that, everybody in the Path to Pro scene should take notice of. And fingers crossed, it means better communication and correlation between it all and a healthier relationship with Path to Pro through the future. Did this one catch your radar at all? Like, what were your thoughts when you saw Packington got this role?
I was happy. Sorry.
I mean, Packington's definitely one of the guys you want, like, from the group of coaches to go talk to the dudes at Blizzard in the office. So if anyone's gonna go do it, I think he's definitely the guy. I think he's one of the smarter guys around. So I'm definitely happy he's in Blizzard now.
His head on his shoulders. I appear to have gone slightly cosmic. Hopefully,
you've gone very cosmic. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I'm so glad I spent money on this camera. It's working out really
I've sent my Matrix boogies over to Phil because now I don't rainbow puke anywhere.
Yeah. Packington, I think one of the smarter guys here. The problem I have, it's not really a problem right now. I don't know what competitions operations mean. Like, I know what those words mean individually. Like, I don't know what his responsibilities are going to be. So I don't know how much impact he can have. Like, what that means, I guess we'll see once the season starts and we start hearing some feedback from players and coaches.
Speaking of season starting, that kind of leads into our next point, which is going to be the community update that we got from Overwatch League. Here, that's not very... You're seeing more of the sidebar than the camera stuff. There we go. That'll do. But so we got a start date for OWL itself. Again, we don't really want to delve too much into OWL news, but how this pertains to Contenders, Path to Pro, and what we're going to get. Because unfortunately, it didn't come with a whole lot of news about anything else other than OWL's going to start on May 5th.
Yeah.
And that we're going to have homestands too?
Yeah, we are going to have homestands, which as a Fuel fan, I'm looking forward to Battle for Texas, no doubt. But I would like to hear, nothing on a release date or a beta date or anything else. Open Division had started this time last year. Let's not forget. Like, Open Division had already been going this time in 2021. And as of right now, we have nothing. I mean, from a team standpoint, have y'all heard anything about Open Division or Contenders over at ISU?
No, we Blizzard doesn't really tell you anything until like right before it's gonna happen. So, or like a few weeks before. Like, so all I got out of that is we'll have Overwatch 2 sometime at May 5th at the latest. Like, that's all I really cared about.
I think there was a follow-up tweet from Halo, Aaron Spake on Twitter, famous Overwatch news leaker, to say that they believe there should be a Overwatch League team access to Overwatch 2, which is great. I'm glad that those guys get to play on the game before they have to play it competitively for a living, and that the league may have some integrity at the start of the season. I just want some news, man. Just tell me, give me a morsel. Show me one finger of a character redesign, and I'll be happy and stop asking questions.
Yeah, I know players are definitely not happy. Yeah. They want to be playing it right now. I think most of them feel like they're wasting their time playing Overwatch 1 ranked right now.
Right. I mean, understandable. So. Like, the only news we've gotten is basically that they're going to try to keep the same schedule, and that was a while back when we got. I mean, it was like a tweet. Or, I mean, like, it wasn't very substantial. It was like one little snippet of, we're basically keeping Contenders the same. Like, and it was a vague, long distant comment that has had zero follow-up. And so exciting news for Overwatch League itself. Wish we had gotten more on the Path to Pro front, that's for sure.
Indeed. That kind of leads us in going back into our macro here, going back into the Tier 2 scene out in MENA. Get Amaze, former head coach of the Paris Eternal, having a chance to now coach the Ultimates, HC. Some of us got to see them in the EBC, the European Broadcast Collective. They were a pretty middle-of-the-road team, so I'm actually really excited to see what he can do with this team. He's also doing coaching, and I believe, if I remember the rates, it was $35 for an hour. With him on 1v1, and then for your team it's $54 for a VOD review. that's not bad at all. I actually commented on there. I'm actually going to go in there and get a lesson with Habibi, as he calls himself, because I mean he's one of my favorite coaches. I think he's got such a great personality. I think he's definitely got the pedigree, and I like I said, the Ultimates didn't do so well in European competition, so this is a definite upgrade in the coaching department for them.
I could be wrong, but I think the Ultimates signed the last Clockwork Vendetta roster when Clockwork Vendetta folded. So I've got a little bit of
at least some of the players, yeah.
Yeah.
At least some of the players
for them as a team.
Bit of a soft spot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, that's Clockwork Vendetta, or like a fan favorite, right? And
yeah.
Hey, even one of them finally made it to Owl. So, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Weeds?
I was saying they're a fan favorite everywhere because even in NA, people were playing those comps after.
Yeah, there was
a
crazy couple of months where that was like just before Rollock came in. That was what people were playing. Like, there's a fairly famous quote from Numlocked, I believe, ran up at the time of like, the problem with fighting Clockwork Vendetta is that they drag you down to their level of play, and they're very good at what they do there. Anyway, I'm going to be careful. I could derail this for a while on Clockwork Vendetta.
Well, T2's version of the Clown Fiesta, that's for sure.
So maybe I should jump us in next. Actually, particularly interested to get your take on this week's Jake Sucky, who I don't know if you follow. Very vocal sports personality, I guess is probably the fairest way to say that. Just published a list in consultation and conversation with a lot of NA colleges, universities, and published a list of collegiate scholarship opportunities, which it's a fantastic resource, I feel, for anybody that is currently in the collegiate scene and looking for opportunities, or someone looking to break into the collegiate scene. It's not just Overwatch, it's everything. But I'm sure there are multiple Overwatch opportunities in that list.
Yeah, I made sure our school is on there, so I figured a lot of people would see it. So, I mean, for Overwatch, I don't know if that will help too much because I kind of do most of the recruiting, and it's mostly tier 2 players. So I don't know if some like random guy on Twitter is gonna be the kind of, but like we have a lot of teams that are gonna get scholarship money. It's not just the varsity team, so hopefully someone might be able to find it through there. And then we have like League and CS:GO, Rocket League. We got a lot of teams at ISU, so
that's a huge opportunity. I mean, in 4 Overwatch teams, we were kind of talking before we went live. I mean, y'all got 4 different Overwatch squads of all levels as far as SR levels. So you don't have to be, Overwatch League talent to go to ISU and get a scholarship for playing Overwatch.
Yeah, that's what we tell. I get a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but I get a few DMs that are asking me, can I get a scholarship to go to ISU? I want to play Overwatch. And it's actually pretty nice that I don't just have to tell them no. Like, I can be like, hey, go talk to Flutie, go talk to our esports director, Kirk, because you might be able to get something to go play on the academy team or go play on one of the red or white teams. So
kind of crazy. I mean, maybe Billy and Jeff will sympathize with me a little bit here as an older person in the third decade here. The idea that you can get like university, college sponsorship to go and play a game when that was a thing that I was kind of made fun of for doing at school is wild to me, and it's amazing that we're at that position.
Yeah.
What was the internet when I went to high school? I mean, we didn't even have internet then, so like
I think we had like Sky when you were that young.
Well,
Sorry.
Even for me, a lot of like getting a scholarship to go to college to play video games, like I used to get like all my grandparents would be like, you got to get Eric off the games. He plays video games way too much. Like, to make him go on the side. And it's like,
a podcast.
Yeah, it worked out. Like,
I wish we would have had that opportunity. But moving on, we've got a bit of a beef, a little bit of drama, a little bit of tea spilling here. Overwatch contenders, or Overwatch Collegiate Cup and Flash Ops tournament scheduled for the same exact weekend. Blizzard really fumbled the ball here. Looking at Nyan Sox's tweet here. Yeah, I mean, so you lost a lot of talent because the collegiate season has to be honored above a cash grab tournament. And I don't know what they were thinking there. I mean, you have to know that these events are coming along. I mean, you're supporting both of them. So did your calendar not have enough space for you to put it underneath there? I mean, that's what I'm wondering because, I work at a corporate situation now. Surely they had somebody scheduling these things the right way, but apparently it just fell completely through. And I just now see Packington's comment on that. I don't start till the 28th, and I'll try and look into it. So he's like, there's the trade.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
I'm throwing it out there. It's not me. There goes the entirety of Blizzard underneath the train and the bus and all the other traffic that went ahead and rolled over Blizzard on that point.
Yeah, it's not the first time this has happened either. Like last year when we first formed as ISU, there's like some Cheez-Its tournament where you're supposed to win like a year worth of Cheez-Its or something. I don't know. It wasn't like the prize pool that was a big deal. It was just like a tournament to play in for the first time. But Open Division was at the exact same time as it, so we needed to play in that to qualify for contenders. And we couldn't do that. And then this tournament, I mean, luckily we have academy players on our collegiate roster, so we let like Wire go play, and like we let the other guys go play, but whoever wanted to. But I don't think a lot of schools have like 20 Overwatch guys that can just fill in on like a random game.
And so, I saw a lot of players speaking out about that.
Yeah, I think there has to be a separate guy that schedules college stuff and other stuff, because there's no way one person could mess this up multiple times.
No, and it kind of brings up from the last episode as well, right? Where actually it's a little difficult to find out when Overwatch collegiate matches are happening, right? Because there's not a lot on the website. The website hasn't been updated in a little while. And
it's all through like game battles and like stuff like that. So you really have to dig if you're not in the scene. Like you'd have to really look, I guess.
Well, and I think it's really hard to support these collegiate rosters as well. If I'm really interested in watching Northwood or ISU, how am I gonna find out when they're playing? How am I gonna say, "Yo, good luck today"? What the hell?
Well, and the Flash Ops tournament was on the official Overwatch League channel, to put that in comparison. Which, a fun tournament. I like what they were doing with it, and I mean, whatever. But that aside, you're pushing collegiate away, and people, I mean, I saw players complain that they couldn't do one or the other, and I think a couple of them opted to actually not play week 1 of OCC, which to me, I think that should be the top priority on it. And what the conversation we were having last week about collegiate, particularly in NA, becoming more aligned with Path to Pro. I mean, something which you have proven firsthand. Like that's, we'll delve into that a little bit more a little bit later. But then you go to the Overwatch League website, and hadn't been updated since fall, like since well before fall. The only place you can find there is a calendar out and made, but you have to be in the OCC Discord to even go look at that and see what weeks are scheduled when. And it's not even super complete. It's not like it tells you what teams are playing. It's just like week 1 is this weekend. But you have to really dig just to get that information. When I think all of these things should be the other way around. Overwatch Collegiate should be updated all the time on the Overwatch League channel and get as much attention as at least contenders in the NA scene. I mean, there's still more debate to be had on that. We couldn't even fit it all into our episode last week, but this definitely, I could see why a lot of the players in the community were frustrated over this fumble, because this one seemed pretty harsh.
And if we're going to talk about frustration, additionally, the NA broadcast, the NA tournament, that was on the Overwatch League channel on YouTube. The EMEA broadcast, that was on the Monkey Bubble channel. So, like, I don't really understand why you couldn't give the same level of visibility to the EMEA players as you can to the NA players, and the EMEA talent that got to do that as well, right? I'm sure there is some technical, logistical reason why, and I noticed Jay's in the chat, so maybe he will say something to that. But yeah, it would have been great to see the EMEA players given that opportunity as well.
Yep.
But
it's something that's been by a long time for that.
Speaking of tournaments, we do have the top 8 for NATA's highest level tournament. There's been a range of tournaments from NATA, from sort of diamond entry level competitive stuff all the way up to, well, looking at this list, established tier 2 teams: GeForce, Death Computer, Bear Claw, Bay State, Shikigami. SCAD is, hang on, South Carolina Arts and Design, which is the team that Snappe is playing for. We Ain't Brawling, and Solstice Gaming, who won first and second place in NA Flash Ops. So yeah, this should actually be a really good one to watch, the NATA Executed Bash Champions Division playoffs.
That's Solstice, not Solaris.
My bad. Well, I'm gonna go
yeah, do things.
Pretty close.
Make it look like I.
They are close. They are close.
I don't look like an idiot. That's fine.
I'm sure you'll return the favor at some point. Don't you worry. But these are just great teams to keep an eye on. I think these are going to be a lot of the teams that will be looking to come out of Open Division and perhaps claim some of those trial spots. Bear Claw Esports has been on a tear through the offseason. A bit of control specialists, and with the Barry Community Blast did have some first to one, so maybe a little skewed as far as the results on that. Nevertheless, they looked really strong. GeForce and Death Computer had big appearances in that one as well. Bay State is a collegiate school that I think gets slept on. That is actually really solid. I had their roster already because I had to go look at this. I was like, I keep seeing them win games. Who is on this roster? So, yeah, do not sleep on Bay State. This is a strong roster. And Tinsa, who comes from the console scene and is just a huge brain, is coaching this squad. So that's I think this is one to keep an eye on, and one I definitely wanted to highlight out of that top 8 finalists there in the Natter tournament.
The other player to note there is Abs, who, as you can tell from the flag there, is an EMEA region player from the UK, who played for a bunch of teams in EMEA before moving out stateside for college. I actually got to cast Bay State for the last season of NACE, and I spent the whole game going, now that can't be Abs. There's got to be a different Abs, because the Abs is all the way back in the UK. It's like after the match finished, like, no, wait, that actually was Abs. He has just moved over here for college, so that was fun.
Have y'all played this squad yet, Wheats?
We scrimmed them like once with this new team, and the last team we played them at HuFest.
That's right.
In the 3rd, 4th match,
right?
Or not 3rd, 4th, but like semifinals, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I think they're pretty good. They're probably one of the best. Like, I think there's like tier breaks in collegiate right now that are pretty big, but they're probably up there with us in like Northwood, like Maryville, like
right in that S tier of collegiate schools
that spend money on their players. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cabe and Infernal and Faded all stand out to me as well. I mean, those are players that we've cast before all of us here. So I mean, I'm loving where the collegiate scene is going. They're putting the money where their mouth is, and I mean, I had a chance to visit up there with you guys, and meet you and take a nice picture with you guys, and I got to pick Hydrant's head for a little while. I mean, you guys really have shown what can be done in the collegiate scene. I mean, the game lab was pretty brilliant. You guys have your own little world there. I mean, it's conducive to gaming. So, I mean, is there anything else planned right now? Because I didn't get a chance to like follow up, but I mean, you guys were talking about a lot of stuff. Captain Kirk was very excited for the future as well.
Yeah, they're building like a $5 million esports arena on campus.
Sorry.
I think it's going to be done by fall.
That's nuts.
So
that's so awesome.
Only 5 hours away from me. I can drive up there and take another picture.
I reckon I would like a trip down there, but someone's got to pay for it. I'm just going to bribe someone to get over there.
You'll get a land over here eventually, Ocean. You'll get a land over here eventually.
We'll get
I don't want to meet you all. It'll be all fun.
They're hoping to host a lot of lands there. That's what they're building it for. So hopefully,
wait, nice. Can you do me a favor? Just say Ocean said hi. If the broadcast out, yeah.
We know you're in charge of the broadcast talent up there. You've got all the pull, so just get the 4 of us up there. Yeah.
I might be. Hey, I could tell Kirk listens to me. So.
I was actually kidding, but it turns out I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Nice. Thanks, Sweet.
Thanks, Sweet. Oh, I'm embarrassed now. All right. We got a fairly big segment on an extremely important tournament starting tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. The Overwatch Empowerment Cup is starting tomorrow. Of course, we know this is to give female non-binary players a chance to compete in Overwatch and have their name shown. Right? Realistically, we haven't seen that many female non-binary players make it past trials or whatever. And there's so much talent out there, and it's proven by the players that have been there. We've had, I think, in the past 2 years, I remember Aspen, I remember Aramori, Bun's been in trials, right, as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 that come to mind. There's probably been a couple more, but we've had some really good female talent. So, this is a way to find some more.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't get the information that I wanted in time to talk about it. But in addition to this being a really good showcase for female and marginalized gender members of our community, we actually have care of Briggsy. For those of you that know Briggsy Cakes in the community, the first all-black female Overwatch team competing in OEC this week as well, which I know that she's super excited about, and I think is a really, really cool initiative. That's I believe
Very
they're
cool.
called the Black Femme Fatales.
Nice.
I think you're right.
Pretty cool, pretty cool.
Uh,
I don't know, Wolfgang, if you've got like a way to run this, but I want to talk about broadcast talent in a second around this. We get to show off not just players,
Boom.
but talent.
You say broadcast talent, boom, it's on the screen.
Oh yeah, let's go. I want to talk about this talent because I think this is extremely important. I'm just gonna pull up a tweet on the side as well. I want to talk about this talent list because it's super good talent list, right? I recognize a lot of the names here. We got Nairo Mizuki, Sid, Moxie, and Vicky Kitty's here as well. Like these people, we know in Overwatch, and then some of the others not as well known in Overwatch. But this is again what the Overwatch Empowerment Cup is about, right? It's about finding new faces, about promoting people from within, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, super strong roster or talent reveal.
With the 2 that we don't personally know, or at least I don't personally know, I've heard
Dryad.
of Jolly.
I forgot to mention Dryad.
We've got
we're really good friends with Dryad too. No, I'm sorry. Right, Dryad's super awesome. We all know who Dryad is. She's going to be casting some really cool events soon. Oh my god. I'm hanging my head in shame. Sorry, Gamma.
Yeah, hide your face in shame for that.
Yeah.
Look,
come on. But still, Vicky Kitty, Owl, caster. We're looking at Sid, an up-and-coming caster right now. I had a chance to cast with her
really
last
good
night.
friends with me.
Fantastic, yeah, awesome. and is so dedicated to the craft. Dryad is just one of the best personalities out there. Very dynamite in a small package. She admits she's short. I'm really tall, so I always lean in on that one.
Does the T2 Spanish broadcasts? So has some contenders
does
work.
Team Colombia
He's so
too.
talented. Yeah. I want to allude on Dryad because I did forget. Everyone I've worked with who's worked with Dryad always says so many good things about her. Genuinely, like I have never ever heard a negative comment ever. Mm-hmm. Right, and I work with a lot of people who have talked about people they work with and gone, yeah, they're pretty cool. But this one thing annoys me. Never anything wrong with Dryad ever.
I'm Sam.
Yeah, cool. Everyone loves Nairo Mizuki.
I haven't heard Jolly do Overwatch personally, but I've heard her do Rocket League, and she was fantastic there. So I know there's a lot of talent to be had there. Excited to see some more female talent come to Overwatch. If there was any concerns that we didn't have enough great female and marginalized gender casters and talent to work behind the scenes, put that fear to bed. This is going to be stacked.
Can you scroll down to the observers?
Can you scroll down as well?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was kind of leading into that. I was leading into that.
Okay. I believe you.
There you go. You
definitely didn't forget.
I definitely did not forget.
Good. Yeah, so we also got the observer, the behind the camera talent announcement as well. And honestly, if you've been working or even just a fan of Tier 2 Overwatch, you will know all of these names, and they're a great pickup for this event. It's really cool.
I'm going to add on to that. I was watching Rocket League this morning. One of our good friends, Ultrism, on the cast there for the RLCS regionals. They actually had a non-binary stats person that had a very prominent role on camera. And there was some comments that were being made in the chat, and the entirety of the community rounded on that person and let them know that it wasn't acceptable. It's starting to change. You're starting to see this. I mean, this is sub-Saharan sub-Saharan Africa. So, like, we're talking about anything below the desert there. Dude, like, seeing them rise up against somebody that was trying to be hateful, absolutely big in my book. Their name is Jota, Jota. Really, really brilliant analytical mind for Rocket League.
And I'm just going to reiterate Chase's tweet here that since we know that there will be questions, Lemon Kiwi was on board, but had another obligation come up, but was still extremely supportive throughout the entire process. So before any questions are asked, like she was there. But there you go.
I was thinking,
where's Lemon? Yep.
Yeah, but I didn't. I obviously did not see that tweet. So.
I do want to ask which one of the rosters you want to pull up first, because there are some rosters to talk about with some really cool people participating in this event, not just players, but like cool social media faces as well.
I think I did it in the order that we lined it out in the Discord. But honestly, I've got 6 pulled up here and 5 pulled up here. So just name one and I'll go to it.
Let's go for Altera first, please.
Oh, done.
Right. I also need to find it because I can't look at the little
I gotta
panel.
change it. I'm trying to get better at changing our topics like more frequently, and I'm forgetting. So forgive me.
At some point, we'll be able to afford to get you a producer so that you can just focus on being on screen.
Look, I don't know why I did Altera first because it's the farthest away. Like, let me scroll up a second. Okay, cool. There's some things I want to highlight about this roster. Main tank player Mystery. Remember watching her in a pretty young level tournament, I think 4.3k average tournament. Really good main tank, really happy about that. And Jam Jam is one of the managers for this team, which is cool. Jam Jam is a player in the UK who is participating in UK collegiate, so I thought it kind of matched in with what we were talking about today. Just wanted to mention that. I think it's really cool to see them supporting something like this, and I'm really excited for Mystery, really good main tank player in Europe.
I liked the Too Many Emmas reveal. This was absolutely fantastic. It is literally just them feeding and dying in the worst ways, and that's their roster reveal. Also, there are quite literally 5 Emmas and 1 imposter on the squad here. So Flank Anna is the only one that's not named Emma. And then, of course, like the Valorant clip, like throwing in a random Valorant clip of them getting owned in Valorant as part of their roster announcement. So I love the fact, I mean, our players are having fun, like just even with their roster reveals. We haven't even gotten into tournament weekend yet, and they're already having a good time with this. So I couldn't help but just be very fond of this announcement. This is fantastic.
Can we go to the T6 roster? Because I want to talk about something else. Because there's something excites me about this roster, and it's the DPS line, all right? DPS line. Right. HK is a really, really good projectile player. And we know who Bun is. Bun's been in Contenders Trials, maybe even higher than that before. Really good at Sombra. Unlike Sombra players, too. Oh, I know, I'm the devil, right? Bun's one of my favorite DPS players in North America. HK is a really good projectile player. That DPS line is going to own in this tournament.
Yeah, genuinely one to watch out for. No doubt.
That's a hell of a logo as well.
I love it. Yes. This is fantastic. The artwork for all of these teams has just been over the top good. Yeah. It's pretty stacked. It's pretty awesome.
I'm just going down our list in podcast news. Next one is Bastion Fishing, right? Couple things to point out. Support line, Secret, and my Excel social media manager, hilarious person, genuinely. I do laugh at most of her tweets. Brilliant. Momo is also on this roster. Their graphics are amazing, like genuinely stunning.
Big part of Barrier Community Blast that we featured last episode.
Yeah, but I want to talk about their staff as well. You see, by Zenith, who is, I believe, coach of the Shock, Lep, who played on Noble and Revival, I think. And AFK Noob, who managed R0 previously, I believe. Or Kaizen.
Yep. Lep is currently on Northwood as well. So
true. So just really cool stuff. And players.
Love it.
Love it.
It's great that, like, alongside like the opportunity for being on broadcast and getting your name out there, the opportunity to be coached by some genuinely like very good, very high talent, big track record of success coaches is a real opportunity for a lot of these players they wouldn't ordinarily get because of the slightly hostile nature of esports towards women and people of marginalized genders. So like that's a really, really good opportunity. So cool to see.
And the last one I want to highlight, my personal favorites for the tournament. Oh yeah, right, I called it, right? I'm really excited for this last roster. It's a Mochi roster. I think Mochi, right? I think I got that right. Yeah. Thank you. Zemret, really good player. But I want to talk about Aramori. Yes. We all know about Aramori and how she fights for people in esports. Brilliant player, because people will talk about how she does fight for people and how she's awesome in that way. She's pretty funny person as well. You know, pretty good tweets as well. I remember her on R0. You know, when I was starting to make a breakthrough as a caster. That was a really fun support duo to watch. It was her and Tensa originally, right?
Yep.
And I was a big fan of Tensa. I thought that support duo was awesome. I really, really did. That was really awesome. And Ruby's on this roster as well.
Yeah.
I was originally doubtful of her as a player, but I watched her this season in EGF for Colorado. She's been amazing. She's been really good this year.
I cast her last night. She's really stepped up.
She was really good. Like I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago. She stood out above everyone else. Really good.
Zemret also a former Trials player as well.
So,
yes.
We are going to have a fantastic. I think this might be a dark horse team to be watching, especially if Ruby is still on the Super Diva kick right now. I actually got to see the Sigma come out last night from her. Oh my word, her Sigma is disgusting.
I really like that roster. I think they're my favorites so far. Not even necessarily to win it. I just really like the roster. All right, just
Mochi's probably the longest standing like girl team that I know of. Like they were around last semester. They used to scrum our CAD team a lot last semester. So
that's cool. That's really cool insight, actually.
I'm rooting for them. I think they're gonna win the whole thing.
Heck yeah. Me and Wheat are in the fan club for Mochi.
Well, and the one that got thrown in late that I actually forgot to put in our news list, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop it up on the screen here, is the Sempiternal roster.
Oh,
so this is...
What do you mean?
These guys are going to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I saw Moving Fishes on this roster. Good player. Niantox on this roster, I believe. Plays a lot of flex support, right? Yeah. Pretty like 4.2, roughly. Pretty alright player as well. This team will be good too. You know, I think those two teams that we've just highlighted, probably two of the major teams to look out for.
That's a gorgeous one too.
Isn't it? Their logo, all of the artwork for this tournament has been phenomenal. Like so good.
It's incorporating women. It's incorporating the LGBT community, and it's also going non-binary as well. So I mean, God,
it's also just aesthetically pleasing. On top of it all, it's well designed and just gorgeous. Yeah. Like
I have a message. I have a message for all organizations looking at competing in Overwatch next year. If you're not watching this event and scouting talent, get the fuck out. Genuinely. There is so much talent here. And if you're not even looking at it, you don't deserve to be here. Genuinely. Because there's going to be so many talented players that you will miss. I mean, like, you're not doing your job properly if you're not watching this tournament. I will be. I'm gonna be studying this tournament. I'm gonna be taking notes. I've got a notepad ready. It's not a notepad. It's just a bunch of scrumpled paper. But look, it's right here, ready to go for tomorrow. Okay, understood?
There will be notes. All right, they're notes in progress. Notes to be. So all this starts tomorrow. Tournament starts tomorrow on Twitch. Reflash Prod is the Twitch channel. So go check that out. I wish I had a start time in front of me. I'm like digging desperately to try to find a start time.
1 p.m. EST.
Boom. Thank you. 1 p.m. EST. I just didn't scroll up high enough. I was down below it, and yeah.
I'm just going to keep a weather eye on the chat because I'm sure if I've got that wrong, Jay will tell me. But I'm pretty sure it's 1 p.m. EST.
It's 1 p.m. EST. Correct. So there you go. Not be one to miss. And our final news topic is going to be the announcement of the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Somebody here's casting it.
Yeah.
And somebody here's playing in it.
Oh, true. Sorry.
No,
Look,
no.
I just want to big up Phil, all right? BHP doesn't, take his full credit sometimes. He's very, very good caster. Needs to take more credit.
Yeah, boy, if I knew how to take credit, I'd be, I don't know, a different person entirely. But yeah, it should be a very cool series. Back with Thibble, who I love casting with, and there are some really, really cool teams playing, like some very high-level teams. In fact, if we pause the video, what have we got? We've got HU Storm, Maryville, Redbird. I believe we figured out that's Florida State, the Gator logo.
Nope, it's
the
University of Florida.
University of Florida. My bad. Well, you know.
Oh,
Close
that's
enough.
too big. Sorry.
It's all
So
NA.
big.
It's all the same, isn't it?
You could actually start an interstellar war with that statement.
At least an inner
Phil.
Florida war.
No, sorry. Can I stop and ask
Florida
a question?
people fight over
What's a
anything.
Florida? What's a Florida? I
That's-
don't. It's a place, right? Is it a
Anyway,
state? I don't know.
Weeds, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, it's I was saying Florida people will fight over anything. So
Yep, there you go.
True.
It's so true.
Any truers in the chat?
I have a question for you as well, Wheats, on this tournament. Is there anyone you're looking forward to playing in particular? I know Solaris have technically got first, second in the Flash Ops and won the Berry Community Blast. They've had a good start to the year. Is that a team you're looking forward to facing in this tournament?
I think all the teams are pretty evenly. I mean, I don't know really who's on the Florida team, but everyone else, I think, is gonna be pretty even. So I'm not really particularly into playing any single team. I'm just excited for whoever we get.
Okay. Glad to hear it.
I'd ask who you thought was going to win it, but I think I can guess who you think is going to win it. Or at least
I never thought I was gonna lose. So
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, here's the better question. Who's going to get second?
I actually don't know who's on Solaris, if they're the same roster.
I think we could guess that it's like
If it is the
Landon,
same roster,
IC,
I
etc.
assume it will be
Yeah.
us versus them. I think we played them pretty good in the Berry Blast. So hopefully we can get another shot at them.
They split their roster for Flash Ops, so now I'm second guessing myself, and I don't want to get it wrong. So.
They had to split it. 'cause you can only
Any
have
team
so
that has
many
Landon on it's going to be good,
competitors.
in my opinion. Like, great player. Great player.
Yeah. Yeah, Landon's definitely up there for NA Flex supports.
Agreed. Hell yeah. Let's see. If we finish this video, does this? That's a lot of volume. Sorry.
That's okay. I don't think we get that. I think you're fine.
No, but I think everybody at home did. Unfortunately,
it's March 5th. I forget the exact start time.
it was March 5th at 12 Eastern.
That's like noon, yeah.
Yeah, at noon. So there you go. Keep that one on your calendars. That's next weekend. That is
Tomorrow.
next weekend. Next Saturday. We'll have the Winter Classic going. So that'll be a good time. That'll be a great time, as a matter of fact. So two fantastic tournaments, 2 weekends in a row. So the community, we're keeping content going. Like that's.
Oh, yeah.
And by we, I mean all the people at hard work behind these tournaments, not we as in myself.
Yeah. I also think there's a solid chance this might be the last Overwatch 1 tournament. So
Oh, valid.
probably
Edge.
maybe something to
That's
look out
if
for.
they don't decide to host one every week until the season starts. But no,
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably
true.
not
I
gonna
mean, if they
happen.
have a tournament and make it the last tournament. So
Thinking about it, keeping note, might just do one on May 4th. Might do Overwatch
Just
tournament
as
as
one
well.
last thing, I'm going to get accused of being biased here because they've invited me to do this twice in a row.
How dare you?
I don't think there is any other Overwatch League team that has consistently done as much to provide regular opportunities for Tier 2 teams to compete outside of
And
collegiate
staff,
and
too.
outside of contenders. And so, yeah, big hats off to Florida Mayhem for that one. And I know that is a thing that Thibble, when he was social media manager for Florida Mayhem, was like very, very keen to push and like did a lot of work in making sure that happened.
well, he's from Tier 2, so that's I think that's why he cares so much.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of other teams have. Well, they do have people from Tier 2, but probably not in a position like him where could actually make something happen out of it.
Well, it's good to see them keeping it going. I'm glad.
Absolutely. Cool, but I think, guys, that brings us to the end of the news segment, which means we can turn and put the spotlight a little bit on Wheat here. So we gave like a little bit of an introduction. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I assume a lot of you tuning into a podcast about Tier 2 may have at least heard of Wheats and heard of ISU. But I wanted to give you, Wheats, a little bit of an opportunity to tell us, like, a little bit about yourself in terms of how you got started and what your journey to where you are now with ISU has been like.
All right, so I mean, this is middle of 2018. Actually, I'll start before that. From when I was a player, I was a very bad player, like bottom of tier 3, probably like an open division player. And I was like, man, I suck at this. I'm never gonna go pro as a player. I need to do something else in Overwatch because I really liked Overwatch. I was in love with the game, but I knew I wasn't really that good as a player. I was like, I coached football before I could coach Overwatch, but I gotta get in. So I made an open division team with Cyrus, actually, who's on Maryville. So that was my first ever team. It was called D Colon. We played in like 2018 open division. So that was like my first, but I really wasn't that involved. I just made the team. I wasn't a coach. Like I was a manager pretty much. I made the team and I had a job, so I just went to work and I was like, "Do you guys need anything?" Okay, that's all I did. And then my friend that I don't think I should say his name, but he was my friend back then, and he was on Second Wind, and I was in a Discord with him. I added all my friends were on pro teams. I was like, they were all on like academy teams and like all this stuff. So I added everyone. I was like, does anyone need a VOD recorder? Like, I'll just come record VODs. Like, I don't need to, like, I don't have anything to do at night, and I want to watch Overwatch. So I ended up becoming Second Wind's like VOD recorder, and then like from there, I just climbed up the Second Wind ladder pretty much as people left for other, like, so Flubby went to Giganti, and we don't have a head coach out of nowhere. This is like 3 seasons into Second Wind.
Right.
And we had a coach for a week that no one liked. So Justin pulled me aside. He's like, Wheats, you could do it. You could be the head coach. Like, there's no way you're worse than this. And I was like, okay. That was my first season as a head coach. Was like the Shedlock, Ezire, Frill, Caden, Halo, Bird.
Pretty gifted roster.
That's
for
a pretty good roster.
Well, yeah, that was my first season as a head coach. But I mean, I've been there. I was an assistant coach for a really long time under Flubby. So
right.
So yeah, I should probably tell you guys like all the rosters I was with. So it was like the first one was Akawa, Fried, Mir.
Oh wow.
Frelon Brig.
The Reiner Brig.
Karkar. Yeah, Lucio's Karkar, and then Haku was our flex support. And then we lost like all those guys to academy teams.
Sanch.
Yeah.
So that used to actually happen a lot, which is, I don't know, maybe
it still happens, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah, maybe people that knew Path to Pro don't weren't there for it, but people used to get poached from Second Wind a lot. That was like what we were known for. That was like, we were like the best team that wasn't an academy team. So those are always really fun times, you know, playing against like the paid teams, being the unpaid guys. Like, oh,
right,
we beat you guys. We used to feel so like vindicated. Like, why aren't you paying us? Like,
yeah, I feel like if you beat an academy team, they should be forced to give you that week's wages.
Yeah, it was. We would have made a lot of money back then if that was the rule.
You're not lying. Like going to like new team. I mean, Montreal, XL2, Montreal, Defiant, Atlanta Academy, Uprising Academy, XL2, Glad's Legion, XL2. Like just one after another, man.
Well, that XL2, they took like our whole team.
Right.
And then I'm 37, went to Owl after like 3 days on our team. Like we didn't even know him that well. And he was already gone.
Yeah, there must have been like a week before that famous interview with Danny Lim where he's like,
yeah, it was.
I speak English, by the way.
Yeah, that was right before.
Yeah.
I remember watching that interview. I was like, he speaks English. Why doesn't he? Why is he talking to him like in Korean? And I was like, okay. So
There you
I
go.
guess that was,
No,
damn.
it does circle back around, right? Because I noticed some of those players are Ryder, Speedily.
yep,
Wasn't UV on this roster at some point?
yeah.
Like-
UV was on. This is 2019, so if
Yeah,
you
this is
go
the
to
2019 roster. Yeah.
2020 UV was on it right before he went to Titans.
I was going to ask about that timetable.
So it was like we played the week 1 of Contenders, won that. We beat Envy, and it was what Shredlock, Kaluge,
Yeah.
oh man, I've had
Was it-
so many guys on second one. So,
But the-
Dalton,
Yeah.
Dalton, Rolf, Ultraviolet,
Yeah.
and who's our flex DPS? Speed, yeah, Speed. Okay, so yeah, we won with that roster. Week 2 comes, us and Envy get like last place in week 2 because we only scrimmed each other because we thought everyone else sucked,
Right.
and then it turned out everyone else did not suck. So then week 3 comes, and we're on the Vancouver Titans. Like our whole team's gone.
Yeah.
So, and then I think the beginning of Tier 2 drama alert started on second wind with that, like those 3rd, 4th place team. They used to just like play Bastion into Rush, like they would troll every game. So I think that started there. So that was happening while we were in Owl, and then I came out of Owl into AT.
So that's T2
But I
Dan
was
kind of
on-
spawned from second win
Yeah.
quite directly as far as that core.
Yeah, it's pretty much all second win guys except OG.
Right.
So,
So-
I think about this as a concept a lot. In how do you define what the most successful contenders team ever is? Like, do you have the most championships? Have you earned the most money? Have you sent the most players through to bigger and better things or up to Overwatch League? And I think there's a pretty strong argument for Second Wind and the things that Second Wind then became. They're probably a very strong contender for that title on any of those metrics.
Yeah, I think if a team did what we did in another region, people would have cared a lot more. I think when you're not an academy team in NA, people don't really care about you as much, like unless you're like really into Tier 2 Overwatch. But because those people really did, they were big fans of Second Wind. But like, I think we were pretty much the like first like place where all the best players came from. Like they all started in Second Wind, and well, not
Yeah.
all of them obviously, but a lot of the best NA players started on Second Wind. So I
Well,
think we have
pretty cool.
a pretty important spot in the history of like Tier 2.
I couldn't agree more. It's one of the reasons I was so excited to get you on the show. And
Yeah.
and you gotta realize the temperature of the time when it was a lot of academy team. I mean, Envy was dominant, right? Like Envy was like, I remember them being the team to beat before they withdrew and formed into Team Doge and all that happened. But y'all were toe to toe with them. Y'all went toe to toe with them and every other academy team. So it's like realizing just the state of where T2 was then and how much more difficult and how important it was that Second Wind was able to put up the success that they did. It's huge, man. Like it's so good. It's so good.
I want to actually touch on that. You were talking about how Second Wind players weren't paid really, apart from I assume prize pools, etc. Well, how much funding did Second Wind have? Like, or not really any at all?
We used to start off every season like jokingly being like, okay, here's the budget for the season, and it would be Justin, who is our like owner and manager. He'd buy $5 of lottery tickets and
Really?
say, let's try to hope.
Really,
We had
that's
nothing.
really interesting to me.
So
Because just being able to get that success with limited resources is really impressive. Like I'm going to be honest, we lost
Seriously.
4 fights. We lost 4 fights in USD comparing Korean contenders. Won't tell you whose fault that was. Partially mine, partially another big company's. Wonder who. But I was really curious on that because it's much harder to get that sort of success, especially in that era when there was a lot of Overwatch League teams around who can just essentially poach your players because you don't have money to contract them, right? Like that was
Yeah,
impossible
that's-
for you guys.
the reason I think we got so many good players is because we sent players to academy. So then other players were like, okay, I want to go to academy. I want to go to Owl. So I'm going to go to Second Wind. Like, we've done this before.
Okay.
We'll send you two. That was like it's like we don't have any salary. You get the
So,
prize
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So I want
But
to
that's it.
then ask: do you think NI teams currently should get a salary, or do you think that runs a risk if certain orgs can pay for salary? For example, let's say Solaris. I think they have pretty good financial income. Say they start paying salaries, right? Would that make it very oppressive to other teams? Like they could just kind of take their players. Is that something you want to see in North America?
I think if they paid like, okay, you could have the best guys and like, or who you think are the best guys, but I mean, I think that's what Second Wind proved is like, you can have as much money as you want if you don't know what you're doing. You can lose to guys without any money, like because
Understood.
a lot of these teams would sign players that we were like, we wouldn't even try them out for Second Wind. So
yeah. Because personally, like that's really interesting to me. Because I would personally thinking the other day, I was like, I kind of want to go into North America. I'll probably pay some salaries for players. That's just really interesting to get that sort of input, just on a personal level for me there. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so this leads into, like you alluded to yourself, the rest of the coaching staff, Dalton, Shredlock, and Wolf going to Vancouver. And notoriously a little bit of a raw deal there, a little bit of a cluster, shall we say? Just from the outside, right? Like just from the community outside point looking in. So tell us a little bit about that, and not necessarily, I mean, any of the negativity or anything like that, but just how did that affect your experience, and what of that did you take forward into your future coaching, into what has been the last year and a half?
I mean, a lot of people probably look at like our record and be like, "Oh, it must have like." It's like obviously it sucks losing. I hate losing more than anything, but we got a lot out of like. I never been paid that much to coach Overwatch. Like I never had a salary before. Like when I got to tell my parents like, "Oh, I'm in the Overwatch league. Like this is what I always wanted," and I did it. Like that, it doesn't matter that we lost a lot of games. So, the biggest thing I took out of it was actually probably learning to like deal with losing and like still be able to come back and not really get affected by it too much, like just go the next day, because we would lose every day. Like it wasn't just matches, every scrim we lost pretty much. Like it was pretty brutal. But
Sure,
now like if we lose a scrim on ISU, my players will be all, I'm so pissed, like, oh, how do we lose? Like it doesn't even affect me. Like I won for a long time, and then I lost for a long time, and then won for a long time. Like, so I think the biggest thing is definitely just learning how to lose and like get stuff out of losing. Like, still feel like you're making progress, even though the results aren't there. You still feel like you're getting better.
I mean, I said it earlier today in a broadcast, but you learn a lot more from losing and failure than you learn from your victories.
Yep.
Is there any particular method? Like, how do you keep morale up in that kind of scenario? I mean, that's got to be one of the most extremely difficult things from a coaching perspective, because you want to see your players do well, right? Like you want to see them thrive and happy and high fiving. How do you keep the confidence level high and keep hope within the squad and not let it crumble?
You have to find small victories, and you have to find goals that aren't just winning. Like it's like doing better than last time. Like doing better and doing your best, and like hopefully we'll win. Like if we don't win, who cares? But if we get better than last time and do our best, we might win. But if we don't care, we are not going to win. So that was pretty much, and that's still every day. I'm like, that's how it should be. Like as long as you guys are giving it your all, we'll probably win. And if we don't, then we'll figure it out. But you have to give yourself a chance. So
I wanted to touch on maybe something a little more specific within your time in Vancouver, which, as someone who came up casting mostly the EMEA region, I was super excited to see KSA given a chance here, and like I felt like because of the issues with ping, he never really got the chance to shine that I think he deserved, and maybe won't at this point. Like, how was it trying to deal with somebody who was almost literally the opposite side of the globe to you in such an important role in the team?
He had such good mechanics. That's why we got him. Obviously, that was kind of the second win, like, theory. It's like, we'll get this guy with mechanics and we'll make him a smart player. We'll make him think like how we think about the game, and then he'll be good. But it was really tough. He had a lot of internet issues. We couldn't always practice with him. I think our assistant coach Pew played a sizable amount of the scribs on off tank.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So I mean, it was a very rough situation. So
yeah, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, it's a shame.
yeah,
Would have liked to have seen him.
yeah, he's definitely got the skills for it.
Yeah,
Just it was sucks that it was in the middle of COVID. Although if it was in the middle of COVID, I doubt we would have been there. So
hey, don't sell yourself short now. Don't sell yourself short.
well, I know we wouldn't have been on Vancouver because they would still be speaking Korean if there was no
fair
none of that. So
we'd be still getting the bumper Hanzo. Okay, probably not, but I had to lighten this up a little bit. It got a little heavy.
Yeah.
It got a little heavy. Go ahead, Phil. Sounds like you had another question.
I took the last one, but I'll take this one as well. So we've looked at sort of you moving to Overwatch League and like what you can do whilst you are head of a team in that position to try and sort of help people through the losses and what they can teach you as a coach. I want to know like what you have taken away from that you are now passing on to the current generation at ISU, because like ISU in the last season of Contenders was a massive success story and a real shot in the arm for the collegiate scene. And I guess maybe more generally, I'd like to know what the philosophy is for ISU here in recruiting people and getting them ready for Overwatch League, if that is still the goal.
I think for like mindset stuff, I'm trying to like I'm trying to create. There's a lot of like players where everything's the end of the world. You know, they're all like 18. They haven't been through too much. They sit in the room, play video games all day. So if something goes wrong, it's the end of the world. Like we gotta change everything. You know, we gotta do this. Why aren't we doing this my way? So it's a lot of like just teaching people like, hey, we don't need the nuclear option every time. Like, let's chill out a little bit. We had a bad day. Let's come back tomorrow. Like, and then like, I guess for like technical Overwatch stuff, like, just trying to force a lot of like not easy comps. Like, it's really easy to become like, oh, we're good at this comp, so we're gonna be a double shield team. We're gonna be a rush team. We're gonna be this team. But in Overwatch League, that doesn't fly. You need to be flexible, and the more flexible you are, the more marketable you are to a team. Like, so unless you're really, really the best at one hero, like Venom, like how good he is at Tracer, you need to be that good at a hero to get into the Overwatch League off of one hero. So I try to stress to people like you don't want to be like XYZ guy that was really good at one thing and never got to play because that one thing sucked when they were in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
And they'll never get in the Overwatch League again because remember that guy when he was in the Overwatch League, he never played. They couldn't use him. So
Chipsa being the prime example.
I was thinking like Shadowburn. Chipsa was a little bit more of a meme. Shadowburn actually popped off on Genji back in the World Cup days but then got into
Shadowburn had like a final and a stage final and played some good. Played more than Genji. Played some good fire. But I feel like what's a better example is like you can't just be like a projectile DPS player anymore. You got to play like everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other one
I think that's the more important example.
More current would be Yezin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his head had multiple times. What, like 7 of the top 10 slots for DPS? Yeah. But that's. I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen tryouts or anything, but I'm guessing it's due to a limited hero pool. Because all you ever see is Pharah and Echo.
Maybe Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you play only one hero in ranked, you figure out how to solve like every situation on that character, and it's just like second nature to you. But when you're trying to be in the Overwatch League, like every character in your role at least needs to be like a secondary thought. Like when you're scrimming, you can't be thinking about your character. There's a lot more to think about in an Overwatch League scrim than like thinking about hitting my 3 shurikens. You know, like you just need to be able to pick the hero, and that's like all the mechanics are behind you. Like you're thinking about the game. So
yeah, thinking about awareness and your teammates' positioning and how you can correlate with them and all that. Yeah. That's so that preparation, that mental, obviously a huge part of coaching. Pushing us along a little bit. So what else goes into it? I feel like coaching is such a misunderstood thing in Overwatch. It's hard for the community and certainly the casual viewer, but even those of us, like, we spend a lot of time paying attention to this, right? Like the 4 of us here, anybody who's pretty much watching this, anybody who's watching our podcast this early on in its life cycle is pretty embedded in Path to Pro, in Tier 2, in Overwatch in general, and still it is really difficult to get a handle on what goes into coaching or what even makes a good coach versus well, I won't say a bad coach, but like an absent coach or somebody who's not really as impactful on their squad. So, I mean, just, I had listed on our run of show just like topics I was thinking of, such as doing, VOD reviews and scouting and recruiting and things of that nature, because that's kind of what I think of. But I want to hear it from you. Like, what exactly goes into what you're doing, and what makes you or anybody else so good at it? What separates the men from the boys in that regard?
Well, I'll tell you as a coach, I don't know what other coaches do. I tweeted a long time ago, if you tweet like what is going on in a team and you are not on the team, you are lying or you're making stuff up. Like, because even the only people that know what I do is people I've coached, and the only people that know what like or Get Amazed does or like by Zenith does is like they're players. Like, you go ask the Drifters guys what they do. I don't know what they do. I've never worked with them. So coaching in Overwatch and it's not like the NFL or anything either, where it's like this guy does this, so he handles all this. Like, everyone coaches differently, everyone handles stuff differently in Overwatch. That's why it's really hard to tell who a good coach is in Overwatch. And so whenever I see people, like, someone get signed and then the comments are like, this guy sucks, like, why do we get this guy? Like, oh, you don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
So what goes in for me personally, I think realizing that I don't know everything and like I'm a very open communicator with my players. Like, what do you think here? What do you think here? Like, I'm just trying to be an extra set of eyes. Like, I trust my players a lot to know. Like, I'll be like, do you want to play Ashe or Hanzo here? And Vision will be like, oh, I think I like Hanzo here. I'm like, okay, go Hanzo. I believe my players when they tell me this is the best hero here for stuff like that. But then that's also like a two-way street. Like, I don't know what to do here. That's when I'm talking to them like, okay, well, you need to do this in this comp, like, or we'll have a one-on-one. Like, I'll like shadow play clips from when I'm watching them and send them and be like, you should do this here instead, or like, what do you think of doing? Do you think we should just play Ashe here instead? Like, I don't think the Hanzo worked. Like, but I think giving players the space to like be like, I think this is good here, so I'm gonna try it. And they'll be like, okay, try it out. And if it sucks, we won't do it again. I think that's more of my style.
Yeah. Can I ask, do you think it's important for a head coach to not only be able to coach the team well and improve the players, but also create a good environment as well? Not just for playing Overwatch, but a good team environment that, everyone's communicating well, but also just a good team environment for people to have fun, Yeah. What's your thoughts on that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've had to give enough, like, I don't know, like, inspirational, like, come on, guys, like, we can't not try here and like expect to win. Like I don't know why you guys are getting angry when we're not trying, like that kind of stuff, you know.
The
Like
halftime speeches.
yeah, I think there's like a YouTube video on the second one YouTube of like we're down like if we were down 0-2 or 0-3 to Gladiators Legion. I'm like, we just have to play perfectly and we'll win. And we ended up reverse sweeping. Like I said,
We
that
need
as
to
a
go
joke.
find that. We need to go
Yeah,
find
but
that if there it is there.
I said as a joke, obviously. But yeah, I try to keep the attitude lighthearted. Like we're competing, but if it's not fun, it's not. I don't want to be on a team that's not fun to be on. Like I use humor a lot to talk to my players. I think most of them, like anyone you would ask that has worked with me, would tell you I'm not like drill sergeant. Uh, I'm not gonna get on people super hard about something. I tell them what has to be done, and if they don't want to do it, or if like I'll give them the room to not listen to me when I know I'm right and mess up, so I can be like, I told you this, and you know I'm right, so stop being stubborn. Like I'm not gonna yell at someone, but I will let them mess up till they understand that I'm right and they're wrong. So
I like it. I like
wonder
that.
how much of that is esports generally. If you've got a coach, it's young person talking to young person, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't think there are any 40-year-old coaches in Overwatch,
There might be like one or two older ones. Like,
but I
nothing
think it's the
really.
exception, right? But
yeah,
in things like football, in most meat space sports, the reason someone is a coach is typically because they've got decades of experience and know how everything works. We don't have that kind of hierarchy all the time yet in
yeah.
esports. And I wonder how much of it is when you get somebody on Twitter that is like, "Oh, why are you hiring this person? They don't have the amount of experience that such and such a person has, and they should have this person in instead." Is because we sort of expect it to be a lot more hierarchical in esports than it actually is.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't like in real sports. If I'm a coach, I can yell at some kid's face like, "Go run!" Like you're gonna respect me because I'm your coach. But in esports, I need to make them respect that I know what I'm talking about in the game. Like not there's no like go run laps, go I'm gonna make you so tired you'll respect me or you'll get off the team. Like I need to talk with these guys like, you know, I'm only 22. I'm not like these guys are all 18. So they all think I'm old. Like they'll call me old. But
You think
like
22, so look at the other
yeah.
people on this podcast.
Ocean, you're the boomer
Alright.
here. Don't even start.
What?
Don't even start.
Can I just say,
Alright, fair enough.
I love the idea of somebody on an Overwatch League coaching staff going to a player, right? You've disobeyed me for the last time. Switch on to Soldier. You're going to be doing laps of Busan, so we're back again.
Or just like make or like okay, or like make them do like okay, fighting games are ranked right now.
Oh.
Oh.
That was like I think Maryville tried like doing like you gotta run laps if you're late to scrims, but like
It's not gonna work.
we're
Never work.
esports player. Like that doesn't resonate with like
Yeah.
if you tell some dude like you gotta go run because you were late to scrims, he doesn't. I don't care about this. This is stupid. Like
That's
why
not
are
gonna
we doing
motivate
this?
anyone,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah.
So you gotta. It's not like real sports. You need to earn their respect like every day. It's not
Yeah.
like you were just. I'm John Madden, so anything I say is the word of God. Like I need to show up and keep updating with the game and with them and what they think about it. It's a back and forth street. It's not like I tell them every time like I'm like, what do you think here? Like, or if they're not talking to each other after round, be like, I didn't see what happened. Like, and I'm not some all-seeing God, so you guys have to tell me like what's going on. Like, are you losing this duel? Is this stuff like that? So
I like it. I mean, it sounds like the finding that perfect balance of trust, but also enabling your players to trust themselves and to make good decisions. At the same time, being able to fill whatever gaps when they are feeling lost. That sounds like a delicate balance. And it's something you're doing pretty well from as far as I can tell. Does that Is that pretty much the gist of it?
Yeah, I think it's just important to let them know that they're probably right most of the time about stuff. Like if you're smart enough to be on one of my teams, I think I respect, like, I think me recruiting a player is like that I respect that player to be good enough to think this stuff through, and I'm just like a guiding hand. I'm not teaching anyone stuff from knowing nothing. I think that's a way harder job than what I do. So
I think that brings us nicely onto another point here, because again, everybody that's watching this, I'm certain, knows what an impact ISU had in contenders last season, and how
and American Tornado before that.
And American Tornado before that. Sorry, yeah, I'm so used to thinking about it in ISU terms. But like, and then everybody is like so hyped up on collegiate this season because ISU has sent so many players up to Overwatch League, and I believe that's the first time a NA collegiate team has had any kind of success like that. How has that changed? How like you work as a coach to bring people in, or like the way players come and approach you? Because I think you mentioned earlier people like hit you up on Discord and on Twitter asking how they get a scholarship, and you send them on to Kirk. But like, do you feel like you've in a lot stronger position to like pick players from the tier 2 seed now, or is it still more organic than that?
I think there's definitely more, like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm me, so I don't know what it's like getting DM'd by me. But I think after sending a bunch of guys to OWL, it means more when I DM someone like, I want you on my team. You know, I want you to come to ISU. So,
is there a major difference in the coaching of, say, American Tornado versus ISU between a traditional contenders organization versus a collegiate org?
ISU is just more like, I have a boss, so like it's more like I have to like talk to a lot more people. On AT, it was just me pretty much. I would wake up and add everyone and be like, scrim time, like, but
I can relate.
There's a lot more people I gotta deal with. So
how did that go? What made you want to make the jump? Not just obviously yourself, but like the entire squad, essentially. Outside of what was OG and Kaluj, it was Luke Mino and Iron were on your fall squad. So
we lost false.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kaluj. Yeah, false Kaluj.
Yeah. So what was that process like? Like what was the decision? What was the most influential part of that decision to want to go into collegiate and not just be on another T2 org like you had done for so long? I mean, it had to be comfortable. It had to be a space that you were confident in, and kind of almost, bragged about, hey, we're the non-academy team that'll stomp on everybody, to getting picked up by a university in this organized kind of established program. What enticed you to want to go be a part of that university program?
Well, I was out of OWL, and we had just won Gauntlet. So this is like January, February-ish of 2021.
Right.
And I tweeted like, hey, I want to do collegiate. So any collegiate teams that want to build an Overwatch programmer, like, are looking for a coach, DM me. And Kirk DM me. I'm from Illinois. I live like an hour away from ISU. So
right.
It's actually, I want to become a teacher. That's what I'm going to school for. So ISU is like known for its education school. Most of the teachers in the state of Illinois come from here. So I was probably going to come here anyways, even because I just was going to go to college to become a teacher, and that's probably where I would have went. So when Kirk DM'd me, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, I'll just go, and I'll I don't need to go win tier 2 or contenders a million times. Like, I'll just go get my degree, whatever. And then, so I thought I was stepping out of tier 2. Like, when I first did it, I was like, I'll have a worse team, but I'm getting a degree, so I'll just go compete in collegiate. And then I DM'd UV and I was like, "Do you want to come to college, like, in case you don't make OWL?" Which I really thought I knew he was gonna make OWL, but
Right.
he didn't think he was gonna make OWL because there's not a lot of non-Korean flex supports in the Overwatch League. So, and he doesn't have like, I think he does now after all the months, but back then he didn't really have the confidence as
Right.
much that he was gonna make it. So I was like, you could come for a semester. If you don't make OWL, you're in college. He's a smart guy. He was gonna go to college anyways. So I get UV, and then I'm like, okay, well, do any of the other AT guys want to come? Like UV's coming, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll go if UV's going. So that's pretty much my recruiting pitch. Was like, we got Ultraviolet. Like,
I like it. I like it.
That's
so good.
amazing.
Ultraviolet tied to the end of the line and into
Yeah.
the rest of the
So for the AT guys, is like I get Frill wanted a backup because people. Okay, I should call him Reiner because that's his name now. But Reiner, people didn't think he was like. People always say he got carried on AT. Like there was so much Reiner like hate on Reddit, so I don't think he had the confidence either that he was gonna make OWL. So he's like, I want a backup plan of college. He was in college anyways before, so we get another guy, and then
I mean, Hydron was just
Hydron was 17. He's like, oh, I'll go to college. Like, why not? Like, so he graduated. He comes, and then we tried out main supports. Basically the tryouts were just like we need to fill around the AT guys. So I already had those 3, and Iron ended up being like, he came out of nowhere. He's just like the perfect off tank for our team. Like, so good at Diva. He just sits on UV, eats every pulse bomb. I think he broke like the record for most ultimates eaten in a match on one of those months. One of the months we won.
I think he tied it. Yeah,
I didn't know that. It doesn't surprise me.
I think he tied it.
Yeah.
I think he tied it with 6.
I mean, I watched all of those.
He tied it with 6.
But yeah,
I think he tied it with 6. Yeah,
so he came out of nowhere. It was just perfect for our team. Luke, very good support player, always high on the ladder.
Yeah.
Like, hey, he's like, I'm playing main support. I'm like, okay, well, Sam. And then, well, Sam's actually the one that got Luke because I didn't even think Luke was going to be on the team because he'd always been on Odyssey, so I just didn't really know him that well. He was always on like the other team.
Sure.
But Sam came, and he's like, and we were really struggling to find a main support. We tried out every main support probably, like we just couldn't find one that really fit well with like what we were trying to do. And then Luke came in. He was a pretty good fit with the team, what we needed. So I guess I didn't really talk about Sam that much, but he was really like one of the biggest like pushing me to like, oh, let's get this guy from the start, because he really wanted to come from the start. Cool. So
that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that's formed. I don't know if this is a thing that is fair to ask, or maybe it's not your place to comment, but what's happened to these players that have come in on a collegiate scholarship that have then moved on to Overwatch League? Because obviously they're not playing for ISU anymore. How has that affected their standing at college?
It's a semester by semester scholarship. So
very cool.
At the end of after the end of last year, they're all free to go. And it's the same at the end of every semester. It's like, if you want to go to OWL, you can go. If you want to go to another college, you can go. If you want to stay here, stay here. So
that's kind of amazing, really.
Yeah. That is so
not
cool.
Normal.
That is so cool.
Well, that was the big thing for us, was like, we don't want buyouts. We don't want to be stuck. Like, we'll just stay as AT till these guys go to OWL if we're gonna get stuck with like having to pay back half a scholarship. So
yeah,
we told them like, we're not like, it's got to be half year, and they're like, okay. So
yeah, that's very cool.
This is obviously, it made a big splash in the past 6 months or so, fall 2021. But I think this, like that exact thing that you're talking about, is really paving the way for nothing but greatness across Overwatch, from Path to Pro all the way up through Overwatch League. I mean, you think we're talking about extending the life of the players' careers. We're talking about having a place for them to go afterwards and to have degrees and have life skills that they can take after a professional gaming career. I was on a soapbox last episode about how big collegiate is and how the future it could hold. And so I think the work that you at ISU have done in that regard is really groundbreaking. It's really prolific into what the future of Overwatch as a whole could look like, because this is good for everybody up and down the ladder. So it's I think it's amazing. I think it's hard to understate how amazing I think that is.
Yeah. Ever since like academy teams dipped out of the scene, there wasn't really a good place for players over 18 to play in tier 2, like, because there's not a lot of money. Even when you win first place, it's not that much. Like, you make more working at McDonald's. So having a college behind you is very nice to be like, hey, we're in a very uncertain field in tier 2 Overwatch, but this is something that's certain. So
that kind of brings us around to our last listed question. We may have some, I don't know, either questions from chat or just a little free for all towards the end. But our last official question goes along the lines of, what are your plans for the future? What are the plans for the future of ISU? And as you individually, what kind of goals do you have besides getting a teaching degree, which I think is amazing? I come from a family of teachers. That's absolutely amazing. All on the math side of things for whatever reason. I clearly did not get that gene. But aside from teaching, what do you want to do with your future as well as your squad?
With this team, I think we could win this upcoming Florida Classics, probably. Like the short-term goal, like we could win that. Personal goals, I mean, I don't know, it's weird to say because most of my goals are just around school right now, because it's like I could, like, if I'm in like a really weird spot right now where like if I got an hour offer, I don't even know what I'd do, because like I have it pretty good here. So I'm just gonna keep going day by day and see what happens, I guess, because I don't think there's any like bad outcomes out of either way it goes. So
whatever it brings you, you'll be happy with, huh?
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, I assume you'd do Alligate if you had the opportunity. I'm surprised we're not seeing you there already. Any thoughts towards that direction?
Oh yeah, if I got an owl offer, I'd go. It's like really weird because it's like
that's like asking us as casters, right? You know.
Yeah, I have it good here, but I want to go compete with the best guys. Like, you know, it's cool being like a really good tier 2 team, but Owl's a whole different. It's just another level up. Like, you can't really compare it. So,
right.
Yeah, I'd definitely go.
One of those off the cuff questions, just to follow up. I apologize if I'm hogging the mic. I'll give all my other friends their chance. One more is: are there any of those OWL coaches that you particularly look up to, or you'd like to emulate, or anything in that regard? A pseudo mentor or anything in that regard?
Definitely Flubby on the Titans. He was my guy forever.
Right.
Pew also, but Flubby is probably like one of the smartest. Like, it takes him no time to diagnose issues, and like he does it all live. Like, I have to watch stuff back still. Like, it takes me a few minutes to figure out what's going on still sometimes, but I don't know, he's definitely the smartest guy I've ever talked to about Overwatch. So I'm excited now that Vancouver has a roster that's like reflective of how good their staff is.
I was going to say on the back of that, how do you rate the Vancouver roster? Because it's been a shaky couple of years for them. You know, no offense intended.
It was definitely Like before, it's like you expect them to be near the bottom, like maybe they'll win a game. Like that's kind of the territory the rosters were in, but now it's like these are all upside players. They're still getting better. I think there's a pretty good mix of like proven guys and guys that are gonna prove how good they are. Like False is gonna be so good.
Yes.
Yes,
He's
he
someone we
is.
hadn't really mentioned today, but yeah, you can't underestimate how good False is. Seriously.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to pull up that roster real quick just for everybody at least watching on video can see. So if you're an audio listener, which I don't know how much of that market we've tapped into yet, but yeah, we're pulling
Big
up the
Psycho
roster.
fan here. Big Psycho fan.
Yes, big Psycho fan as well.
I remember casting Psycho in OD, like
Yeah.
not that long ago, maybe 2 years.
Yeah,
Like,
was...
that man, tremendous player. Like he was in OD, and then 2 weeks later, New Kings picked him up. He was on a roster of low position in Elivo, and
that was New Kings.
It went positive, up and up ever since. Really good player. Also plays Sombra, and again, I hate my life. So yeah, big fan of Psycho.
I'm excited for False, Aspire.
Oh yeah, obviously.
And Aztec. I think Aztec kind of
Aztec
got
good.
Aztec is so
screwed
good
on Toronto, but I think now that he has like a starting spot, like he's gonna. Everyone's gonna see how good he is because he was. I thought he was gonna
awesome
be
on
super,
WGS.
Yeah,
Aztec is a
WGS.
beast, man.
I thought he was gonna be a much bigger impact on Toronto last year, but he didn't really get the playing time to.
Same.
Oh,
Same.
I felt embarrassed. I said last year he'd be rookie of the year. I was with you on that.
But he has that kind of mechanics. Like,
hell yeah!
I mean, seriously.
He was really misused on Toronto. He played fucking Zarya for a map.
Yeah. And I heard that Sky Ripper shout out. I gotcha. I heard that BEH shout out back there. No doubt. No, this team has a lot of potential for sure. Really excited to see what they do. Let's see what else we got. Definitely had a question in chat here. We're kind of winded down here a little bit, so if, let us know, like anybody in Discord, if we need to do anything. Yeah, we are. I see that note now about the 90-minute mark. We did have a question in chat I wanted to go ahead and get in. Just asking if teams only practice like very specific comps, or do you practice to kind of counter and play more on the fly and be more adaptive? And obviously this is for you. You don't know how anybody else coaches, like you mentioned earlier. So as far as your personal approach.
Yeah, there's definitely teams out there that will just like counter comp everything you do. But I try to focus more on like us. Like, let's just play what we think is good.
Right.
And if something sucks into what they have, it's a scrim. Like, who cares? If we lose a map over because we had a bad hero into that specific comp that no one else plays on that point, like, okay, you won the map in scrims. Good job. Like,
well done. No one cares.
Yeah.
Now, is this an overall philosophy of you kind of set the tone as far as your team, the mentality of they have to play to your game, they have to counter what you're doing, and you're just gonna do what you do?
Yeah, that's the goal. I think for all teams is to have the comps where it's like they need to change how they're playing because we're doing what we want, and it's not gonna be the other way around. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have to concede. Like sometimes someone else just has something better, and it's like, okay, we gotta figure out how to beat that. But everyone's goal, I think, is to come out with a comp where it's like the other guys need to react to us.
Can I ask, is there a specific composition that you've like enjoyed coaching and trying to maximize before, in particular?
In terms of like maximizing stuff, I think Goats is like the most like it got, I don't know, it didn't get patched for so long that it was like every cooldown became like, okay, we're gonna do this because of this. Like it was, I think that's the most like optimized the game ever got.
The microplay in Goats was absolutely nutty.
Yeah.
And if you missed one, like it was team fight over, right? Like it was.
Yeah. We're reaching that point with like, it's starting to become slow down a lot. Like the ball, like dive comp, like all these ball comps. Yeah. When we played it on AT, I think, I don't know if this is like true, but I think we invented that comp. I'll say that with no fact checking.
Okay.
But
fact checking is overrated.
In Gauntlet, yeah, we played a weird version of it too, so it's not even like what's standard now. But I think
you
we
played
were
the SIG version, right?
Yeah, we played SIG. We played Mercy Zen because he was so good at Zen that we didn't really need a brig for him, and we just wanted to pocket speedily. Anyways, so and the whole reason we played Ball is because Frill thought Double Shield was boring. Like everyone played Double Shield, and he's like, "I'm not playing Orisa." So we're like, "Okay, we'll just make a new comp where you don't play Orisa." Like, I guess. So, and back then it was like, whoever we'll go first, it will beat you into the ground because we're better than you. But then it's slowing down now where it's like a year later and the same comp still being played, and it's a lot slower. So,
and no, Phil, he was definitely not wrong about the Double Shield being boring. He was definitely not wrong. Oh,
I think that's probably a pretty nice place to leave off on Grilling Weeks.
Like, awesome.
I think we've been like keeping you talking nonstop for the past hour. Anything you want to like leave us and people with as a parting comment?
Or any shout-outs?
Yeah, no is an acceptable answer. It's fine.
I'm gonna give a shout out. Who's been doing good? I'm gonna give a shout out to Vision Live. He is a hacker on Hanzo.
Okay,
that's my shout out.
Wouldn't expose him like that before a tournament. That might not be the sensible moment. No, not this most sensible play.
Yeah. Okay, that brings us. Yeah, sorry. That brings us to the last couple of line items in the show. So before we close out, let's have a look at the Tier 2 tweet of the week, which I'm hoping we lined up this time.
Yes, I've got it here somewhere. I've got it here somewhere. Damn it.
That was good.
I swear I had it. Oh,
it's in the runner show.
I've got it. I've got it here. All right. I'm ready for you.
Okay, yeah. So this week's Tier 2 to the week is from, I always forget how to pronounce this. Kai. Kai is easy enough. Overwatch, every hero is represented by a video game. Really, really fun little graphic. And kind of hard to disagree with any of the selections here. I just thought it was really nicely put together. Farah, Jetpack Joyride. The Zarya is Bubble Shooter. I think my personal favorite is the Orisa one, which is like a horse riding sim.
Yeah,
that's good.
Horse supremacy.
Genji's is good too. Genji's is that mobile app where you like slide to the front, or whatever it's called.
I mean, Sims is Portal.
Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, Fruit Ninja for Genji is really good.
Yeah.
I also like Wii Fit for Zenyatta.
Yeah.
This is just really well done. I think there's a couple other shots, but this is really impressive.
My favorite one is Moira, because they got the radioactive plague symbol up there, because she's a plague on the game anyways.
Let's not forget some Donkey Kong Country Returns there for Winston. All right, OG shout out right there. I appreciate it. I love it very much.
What about like the actual good Donkey Kong Country Returns is good, but like the original ones are pretty good too. Come on, there's the original Donkey Kong Country deserves a shout out here.
Yeah,
just saying.
Okay, look, this is not a Donkey Kong Country podcast, but I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Well, that's unfortunate. It should be. That's it. We're changing formats next time.
Monkey supremacy. I'm not going into my Nike call, I promise you.
But that is going to do it for us this week. Thank you, Wheats, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Super cool having you here. Really interesting to hear from you.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed picking your brain. I really enjoyed your answers as well. Really fun to talk to you today.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess all that's left is to say thank you again to Glitch for letting us use her remix of the King's Row theme as our intro and outro. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Don't forget, there is a plethora of competitive Overwatch over the next couple of weekends.
Tomorrow for the Empowerment Cup.
Empowerment Cup tomorrow. We've got Winter Classic the weekend after. So yeah, no shortage of Overwatch to watch. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks to round up at least some of that for you.
Bye, y'all. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.